Hey, okay. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, before we talk about the last part, okay, maybe I just want to share with you this thing first. Okay,
Hello, hello, hello.
okay. Uh, I think Singta, are you there?
Ah, uh, okay, yeah, I'm here. I think I'm
Okay.
muted already. Sorry, that was
So
very
the
loud.
last, this part, module 4, I get Elijah to talk about leaving behind legacy first. Okay, then I'll touch up on that again. Okay. So Elijah, are you there?
Yep. I share my screen now. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Okay, can. Okay. Okay, so today we're just going to talk about legacy planning and how to leave behind something for your loved ones. Okay. So a very simple concept. Okay. Now, the legacy planning also ties into estate planning, and actually there are two ways of looking at estate planning. The first way, we call it the old way. Okay. Old thinking is people always say that legacy planning is the process of transferring wealth from one generation to the next generation. Okay. So that was the very old way of looking at it. Okay. But actually, I like to think of it as a new way, new generation thinking. Nowadays, legacy planning, it's not just about transferring wealth, but to make sure that actually every member in the family actually enjoys proper financial planning so that they stay financially independent and yet interdependent on each other. Okay, I repeat, they stay financially independent and yet interdependent on each other. So think about it, right? If let's say I were to have a family of two parents and two kids. Okay. Now, estate planning, let's say always the parents went to plan for themselves, they decide what they want to pass to the children, so on and so forth. Okay. And then something happens to the children, unforeseen financial situation, like for example, uh the kids fall very sick and then have to be hospitalized and they have to spend money on the kids' hospital bill because they didn't buy hospitalization coverage, for example. This indirectly impact the estate plan. Okay, this indirectly impact the estate plan because they now have to take money from their estate to go and settle things that were actually unforeseen, unplanned for. Okay. Now, if for example the entire family has done their planning properly, okay, everyone's covered for the right thing, everyone's growing their wealth in a fashion that suits them, whether you want to do high risk, low risk, or what. If something happens, the plan for the parents to pass the estate down to their children remains intact, and then nothing gets thrown off, what was thrown off the original plan that you wanted to do. Okay. So there are actually seven aspects of estate planning. Okay, you got the tax aspect. Okay, how do you ensure that you minimize the tax impact when you pass on your estate to someone else? Okay, now in Singapore there's no estate tax, but of course other countries there might be. So maybe this is not so relevant in Singapore. Okay, your inheritance. How do you ensure that you pass something that you want to the people who you want them to get it? Okay, you got charity. Some of you may want to do some charity work as part of your estate planning. Maybe you want to set up a charitable foundation, or you want to ensure that, let's say you're very you are very passionate about certain causes, like say you are passionate about cancer research, something like that. Okay, you want to make sure that charities can get a part of your estate. Okay. Okay, you talk about income. How do you pass income on to the next generation? This is lifetime income mastery after all. So we will have to, of course, bring income into the picture. Okay. We have asset transfer. Okay. So what kind of assets, okay, that you want to transfer to the next generation? And lastly, the legal aspects of estate planning. That's more on not breaking any laws when you are trying to transfer your estate over. Okay. Okay. Now, sorry. Okay, for transferring of your estate, right? Okay. Uh, okay. Most commonly, people think about estate planning as in, oh, I must write a will. Okay, and that is true. A will is actually a pretty important part of estate planning. Okay, but take note, what happens if you don't have a will? Because I think there are 20 plus of you here. Okay, actually, just don't have to answer me in the chat, of course, but just think about it. Have you written a will already? Okay, this is just something you want to think about. Have you done your will? You haven't, please, actually we will say, please go and get a will done. It's actually very important, okay? Because if you don't have a will, okay, Section 7 of the Interstate Succession Act will actually determine what happens to your estate after you pass on. And for those of you who don't know what Section 7 looks like, these are what we call the 9 rules. Okay, so for example, if you pass on, okay, then your survivor is just your spouse. Okay, your spouse gets everything. Okay, that means if you had siblings, okay, then they will actually not get anything. Okay, so that's something you have to take note. Okay, the spouse gets everything. So you wanted to leave something behind for a niece and nephew or something, okay, it can get tricky. And then if you have a spouse and children, okay, spouse gets half, children get half. You have children but no spouse, you know, and so on and so forth. So actually these 9 rules, I'm not going to run through all of that because you all have the notes. We send the notes to you, but you can see that it's quite a rigid kind of structure, which means that the money may not flow the way you want it to go. Okay, I repeat, the money may not flow the way you want it to go. And of course, I don't think anyone wants the last line to occur, which is government take everything. Yeah, okay. Now, I want to highlight a few exceptions to this. For CPF monies, is actually based on nomination. Okay, the CPF money is actually based on nomination. You didn't nominate your CPF money, then it will go to public trustee office, and then public trustee office will actually charge you a certain percentage of the assets in the CPF in order to distribute your CPF money. So I also don't think anyone wants this to happen. So also make sure that even you made a will, please ensure that you also, what you call that, make a nomination, okay, so that your CPF money is also taken care of. And I want to highlight that there is actually certain limitations. CPF monies that have been withdrawn for investment, for example, you've taken out your OA money to invest in shares or something like that, okay, you that form of asset is actually not covered by nomination. It's actually covered by your will. So this is just something to share with you. Okay. And then sometimes you all may have heard of this thing called a trust. So before we talk about how a will works, okay. So some of you may have heard of this thing called a trust. So what is a trust? A trust is an arrangement that is set up through a professional trust firm or say a wealth manager, and then you can decide how your assets are going to be distributed. How is that different from a will? It's very simple. A will can only take effect after your death. You have to die first. Okay. A trust can take effect as soon as you create it. Okay, and you can immediately use it to manage or distribute assets anytime before or even after death. So it's actually more comprehensive. All right, a trust is actually more comprehensive in that sense. Okay, and if you choose to create a trust, okay, assets that you put inside a trust will actually be managed and invested accordingly by the trustee, which typically will be a trust company that you select to help manage. Okay, but there is there's a bit of something to take note is if you set up a trust, right, the assets, okay, you relinquish your legal ownership of all your assets to the trustee. So the trustee will actually have ownership of the assets. Okay, and because a trust is unique in this structure, it actually remains out of probate. Okay, so we all know that for wills, actually, probate is one of the process by which you can get. Oh, sorry, hang on. Let me do that sharing again. Okay, so a probate is actually something that the court will grant to you when you want to execute your will. Okay, so okay, wait. I just want to make sure everyone can see my screen. Okay, no issues with the PowerPoint. Because I got a message that I got a couple of PowerPoint windows open but everyone okay? You can all good now. Okay, then thank you, Buha. So okay, for trust it's actually a very more comprehensive thing than say a will. Okay, so that is something you need to take note. But a trust requires money to set up and run. So that is one problem with a trust. Let's say problem, but if let's say you have enough assets, then you might want to consider a trust. Okay, and one interesting thing about a trust is that actually you can have very certain kind of conditions that you can place in a trust to ensure that Yeah, I know we didn't put trust PowerPoint inside the notes, but actually, you want more information, we can also link you up, because we are not we don't actually do trust lah, but we can link you up with trust companies lah. Oh, your asset overseas, okay. Okay, looks like all the questions are coming in. Okay, if you have assets overseas, right? Okay, you might want to have a will or at least a trust in overseas to oversee those assets. Okay, the jurisdiction matters. Okay, so that's why actually when it comes to assets in Singapore, you can cover them adequately with a will, but if your assets overseas, okay, I would highly recommend you talk to a legal expert overseas, because every country has various what we call aspects of legal matters in terms of how estate is administered. Okay, so I try and keep it simple in the Singapore context here, but your assets overseas, you may want to consult legal experts overseas. So for example, your assets in US, that one I would highly recommend you to consult someone from USA to talk about those assets. Okay. Now, okay. So back to a will and a trust, just remember that for a trust, it is actually very, very comprehensive, but it will cost money to run and administer. Okay. Okay. So now, methods of transferring. Okay. So, okay. Now remember the 9 rules. Let me just go back. These 9 rules, right? Okay. Sometimes, as I mentioned, it is not what people wanted. Okay. It's not what people wanted with their assets, how to transfer it. So that's why a will is important. Okay. So you can determine who gets what according to your wishes. But of course, you have to do this when you're alive. And not only that, people say, okay, even if you say that, oh, I am okay with the Interstate Succession Act, but if you only rely on this, right? Okay, and you don't have a will, then you actually take quite some time to administer the will, and it's typically like 6 to 9 months for approval to be granted by the courts before the person who is in charge of distributing your assets can actually start to go around and look at how to split the assets. With a will, okay, not only is it less hassle, it's also a lot faster. Okay, within 6 months, typically you have a will, you actually be able to start to distribute the assets. Okay. Okay. So in the end, really a will is just a letter of wishes, and trust, which I mentioned just now, is also another way of ensuring your assets get distributed the way you want it. Okay. Now there is also foundation, but foundation is something bigger than just a trust, and it can also be charitable foundation. So that is where the charity aspects of estate planning come in. If you wanted to set up a foundation to ensure that you can have leave behind a namesake or something, then that is one thing you can set up also. Okay. Okay. Now, what to note about trust is that one good thing about trust is the contents of the trust remain private. Okay. And as I mentioned, you can actually set very, very specific criteria in order to execute your wishes. For example, if let's say you want to leave something behind for your children, but then you want to make sure they remember you. So you can say that, oh, let's say you want to give them a gift of 10,000 every year. Okay. But you can tell the trust that give this $10,000 to my children if every year they come and visit me at least once a year or something like that. This kind of very specific conditions, you can actually put it in a trust. Okay. Okay. So trust and foundation actually can last very long, generations even. Okay. But will, once you execute finish, that's that. Okay. Okay. But trust and foundation, of course, come with higher costs. Okay. Now, why would one want to have a will, right? Okay, just make sure that it's really, as I said, to express your wishes, transfer all the money that you want to the people you want. Okay. If you die without a will, okay, then you consider to die intestate. Okay. So then you will have to really hope that the splitting is in your favor when it comes to intestate law. Okay, one thing to note also, will, right? This one a lot of people I think do not know. Will, right, has to be original. Okay, which means that they are not going to accept a photocopy of the will. So in other words, if you write a will, then you actually need to make sure that the original copy is what is presented to the courts when the executor wants to apply to distribute the assets. Okay, a photocopy is not accepted, which means, okay, I ask you to consider this scenario. If touch wood, you die in a fire. If you die in a fire and the will gets burned as well, and that was the only copy of the will, then actually it's considered you have no will. Okay, let that sink in for a bit. Okay, if you die in the fire and the fire also burned your only copy of a will, it's considered that you have no will. Okay, so you need to ideally have another copy of a will, preferably be studying with the plan executor and sitting elsewhere physically away from you. Okay, and that will be a better way of managing your wills. Okay, so what do you need to know about will, right? Okay, a will needs to be committed in writing. Okay, so you writing as in you don't have to like really take a pen and write it out, but it must be in black and white. Okay, it can't be like something said or recorded. It has to be in writing. Okay, and you can make a will if you are at least 21 years old. Okay, you have to be 21 years old to make a will. You must sign at the foot of the will, and your signatures must be witnessed by at least 2 other witnesses, none of which can be a beneficiary of the will or spouse of the beneficiary. Okay, so just take note of these criteria. Okay, now a bit more about will. Okay, I posed a couple of interesting scenarios for you. Okay, now we talk about will as in distribution of assets, but most of us also have insurance policies. So what if you wanted certain policies to pay out to certain people and the other policies to just go to estate? Can it be done? Okay, what do you all think? Okay, so actually the answer is yes. Okay, those policies you wanted to pay out to certain people, you make a nomination. Okay, so this is something also I believe a lot of people might not have considered. I think a lot of people out there, actually myself included, you probably have insurance policies, and have you ever stopped to wonder that what would you do if you really die, and then this policy, this proceed, how do you want it to split? Okay, so making a revocable nomination on a policy is actually a very important step in ensuring that your insurance policy, the money goes to the people you intended. Okay, make a revocable nomination because that's very important and you can change it anytime. Okay, if not, you will just go to your estate. Okay, so if you have policies that are actually, certain policies that you want to go to estate and certain policies that you don't want to go to estate, but you want it to be distributed equally, one thing you can do in a will is to just state that, for example, maybe I got 2 policies. One policy I want to give to my nephew, and then another policy I just want to go to estate and split accordingly. So first thing, of course, the policy I want to go to my nephew, I need to make a nomination on it. Then the policy that I just want to go to estate, okay, I can leave it as it is. However, over time, people buy more and more policies. Maybe I will buy a third policy years later, and then I forgot about the third policy. And actually, the third policy, maybe I want to, will it to someone else. So it's always good to review these things periodically. And one line which you can add in the will is to state that, for example, if a policy has a nomination, follow the nomination. If the policy has no nomination, follow the will. Okay, I repeat that. If you have a policy, you can always say that the policy with a nomination, follow nomination. Policy without nomination, follow the will. Have this statement included in your will, then actually your distribution will be quite clear. So, people won't be agreeing that this policy, no nomination, but actually it was intended for me. No, in the will already say that policy, no nomination, go to estate, follow will. Then that will be actually a very clear way. Okay, here's another interesting scenario. Okay, see whether anyone knows the answer to this one. Okay, if husband and wife die at the same time, who died first? Anyone know the answer? You can just type in the chat box. Say car accident, husband and wife die in a car accident at the same time. Who dies first? Anyone? No one. Older. Correct. The older person is considered to have died first because he lived longer. Now, here's the thing. Okay, if the older person died first, and then let's say the older person got a will, but the younger person don't have a will, then the older person's will actually will execute, and the younger person will go to estate. But if it's the other way around, the younger person got a will and the older person don't have a will, okay, older person die first, okay, if let's say you will follow the Interstate Act and then it goes to the younger person, and then the younger person estate will inherit that portion of the older person's estate. Okay, I know it sounds a bit confusing, but let's go back up a bit to the interstate law. Okay, now let's say we are looking at this younger person no will, younger person got a will, okay, but the older person don't have a will. Older person die already. Let's say we just look at surviving spouse. Okay, so let's say the spouse got a sibling. Okay, but okay, husband and wife. So husband die first, wife considered die second. Okay, husband actually only want to will it to say some portion to his wife and maybe some portion to someone else, but he didn't make a will. Then everything will go to the wife, and then the wife will based on the wife's will, then it will distribute accordingly. So this may be against the husband's wishes. Can you all follow that? And I can't draw very well with the pen. Let me try again now. Husband and wife. Okay, so husband die first. Okay, die first. Wife die second. Okay, husband didn't make a will. Wife got a will, but the husband actually intended to distribute in a certain way. Everything goes to wife. That's it. The wife, it will follow the wife's will. Okay, so Hui Bian, I see you understand. That's good. Thank you. So that's why husband and wife, actually, I will always say both should make a will. Okay, you never really know what will happen. And then what about the scenario where husband died first, the wife survived, then ambulance bring to the hospital, then the wife died in the hospital? Then of course that's a different scenario entirely. So always make sure you got a will. Okay, I'm sure that some of us here, myself included, guilty of not actually having a will. Okay, so this is something I just really want people to think about. All right. Okay. So will is still the most basic of things. At least have one. You want a trust or a foundation that's more complex, and probably you need to talk to a third party on that. Trust. We know of people who can do trust and for people. Okay. Okay. Now that's about will and trust. Okay. Now, what about the contents of the will and the trust? And basically that refers to your estate. Okay. What do we want to leave behind? Okay. So there's many things we can leave behind. Okay. You got property to leave behind for sure, money, shares, your business, income, which is an interesting concept. Anything else, others? So say, for example, precious jewelry, family heirlooms, okay? All these things can be left behind and they all have value, okay? So you need to think about what you want to leave behind, okay? It's actually a very important thing to consider. Especially when you talk about financial planning, most people talk about, protect my income, invest for retirement, so on and so forth. Okay. But also, actually, after you do all this, you also need to think about the day will come when you're no longer around, and what do you want to leave behind of the estate. Okay. So okay. So, but before we talk about what to leave behind, right? Okay. So I want to highlight there is this thing that is a will requires, which is called a schedule of assets. Okay. Now, a schedule of assets, okay, is something that lists down everything you have. Okay, I have actually seen people come into back when Jurong East, our center was open. There were people come in and want to open an estate account, and actually it's a good thing that I saw that they have something called schedule of assets. The schedule of assets actually list down everything that the deceased person has, of course, as accurately as possible, up to the point where the deceased person last updated it. So please ensure that if you talk about having a will, okay, a will only tell you like distribute what and how many percent, okay, but what do you have actually? Okay, I doubt a lot of people, I doubt your relatives will know, and maybe even your spouse might not know everything you have. So you might want to list down and save a schedule of assets, listing down, I have so and so bank account, I have so and so shares where my shares some are held in this account, some are held in another bank. What are my investments? Where are they? So listing that down makes it a lot easier for the person who is executing your will to go and find all the relevant parties, gain access to those assets and distribute. Okay. Okay. So okay, I had a question. Husband and wife, same will, that will to each other, and both died together. Okay, how is it done? Okay, so let me repeat. It was a private message to me, but I'll just highlight for the sake of the class. Okay, if husband and wife have a will that will to each other, okay, and both died together, how is it done? Okay, husband died already. Okay, he died first. So look at the husband's will. Okay, went to the wife. The wife estate will inherit what the husband have. Then the wife's will say will to husband, but husband is no longer around. Then where does it go? Okay, so here is what we call importance of setting up what we call a secondary beneficiary. In the event, okay, that A will to B, B will to A, but both die at the same time. So A's estate, A being the older person, the estate went to B, B say will to A, but A is no longer there to receive anything. Then what happens? okay, so the way of dealing with this is actually to set a backup beneficiary. So for example, okay, let me say CPF nomination is one very easy way to look at this. Let's say, okay, CPF nomination. Let's say my mom wants to will the CPF to my dad, and my dad wants to, sorry, not will. My mom wants to nominate CPF to my dad wants to nominate CPF to my mom. If both die together, where will the money go? So the best way of doing this, okay, so, okay, for those of you listening in, I actually have a brother. So what mom and dad can do, okay, is do a 98-1-1, meaning if, okay, dad and mom pass on at the same time, okay, then this 98% share, doesn't matter whether it's mom to dad or dad to mom, is no longer valid. 1-1 means that 100% of the CPF money is split 50-50 between me and my brother, as an example. Okay, so this is what we call backup beneficiary. And in fact, since I was PM that question, I'll also highlight something called backup executor. What if your executor die before you? Possible. Okay, because for example, let's say my mom might want my aunt, who is her sister, to be an executor. But touch wood, of course, both are about the same age. What if my aunt suddenly died? Okay, and then my mom forgot to revise the will to change executor. Then there'll be a bit of legal problem, right? Okay, what happens if there is backup beneficiary specified? Okay, if the backup beneficiary is specified, okay, that backup beneficiary doesn't get anything if the main beneficiary is still around. Okay, so the backup beneficiary is to take the place of the main beneficiary. The main beneficiary, or not specified, then the will becomes invalid. Might become invalid because you say, "Oh, give my asset to this person," but this person is not around, so the will becomes invalidated, and that's a bit of a problem also. So make sure you specify a backup beneficiary. Okay, then what happens? I follow interstate law, 9 rules. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, very important thing lah. So usually, however, that problem is usually avoided because normally our beneficiaries tend to be younger than us. Parents will will to their kids, so on and so forth, right? That normally avoids the problem lah. But there are cases where, okay, my grandfather outlived his son, so that says a lot lah. Okay, so there may be a case where the beneficiary may pass on before the person lah. Or for example, in the case of accident or disease, you never know. So, people set up a will and it's one of those things that you set up and then after that you forget about it. So in case you really forget about the will, at least make sure that there's some backup or some redundancy built into the will so that there is, you still, it doesn't become an invalidated will. Okay. Okay. So this about will and trust and foundations. Okay, so what do you want to leave behind? And actually, this being lifetime income mastery, okay, I think you all can guess where this is going. Okay, I'm going to pose a simple question, and I'd like to take a poll of you guys in the audience. Okay, which will you prefer? 1 million cash now or 100,000 for the rest of your life? Can you type A or B inside the chat? Then I'll just take a look at what the response is like. Some people prefer B, some people prefer A. At my age, I take A. Okay, there are some B, some A's. Okay, good mix. Okay, yours 18, I take B. Okay, great. And here's the thing. Usually when we are passing on our estate to other people, it tends to be the younger generation. So, Boon Hua, you have a very good point. Actually, I'm about to ask you, if B wasn't available, will you take C? Okay, so this is something you all don't have to answer me in the chat. Think about it, okay? If B is not available, will you take C? And if you are 18, you take B. I think if you are 18, if B is not available, you probably take C. Okay, so what am I trying to drive at here is that actually in our lives, income is actually the most important determinant. We spend our whole lives thinking that we must build our wealth, build our assets, but actually behind that was our income to give us what you call that, the wealth to build our assets. Now, I just want to highlight one thing. If the 100,000 was guaranteed for the rest of our life, versus 10 million cash now, I think a lot of people will still take B. Okay. Now, most of our parents, I'm sure, never plan to leave us with either 1 million cash, right, or let alone 50,000 a year for the rest of our life. I think we can attest to that, okay. I don't think anyone else have income stream that already was in place when we started working. Okay, we all had to start working somewhere and then generate our work from income, and then that start to build our passive income stream. Okay, but you don't do proper estate planning, or even don't even do proper financial planning. If someone dies, there is a chance that instead of leaving an estate behind, you leave liabilities behind. So you're actually transferring your assets like your house or that, but in liability format, because the mortgage or things like that end up on your surviving family members to take care of. Okay, so first step always in estate planning, okay, is to make sure you nullify all liabilities in case you leave the world unexpectedly. In other words, make sure that if you were to be gone one day, don't leave liabilities behind for your surviving family members. That's just going to be another mountain of debt for them to clear. And I've seen it happen. Okay, so they'll remember you forever, but in the wrong way. Okay, so leave behind assets, okay, but not in liability format. Okay, and actually that's something I want all of you to take home tonight. Leave behind assets but not in liability format. Okay, now all of us grew up I think all the age group here is very diverse. I know some of you are in your 50s. I myself in my 30s. We might have some young people inside this class. Okay, now think back, as a child, have you ever looked at seeing other children enjoy something you didn't have? I'm sure you might have. Like maybe say that the kid, how come that kid got this toy and I don't have? I cannot afford that. Okay, so if that's the case, right, then do you ever wish that your parents did something for me? And why I pose this question is because if you have children today, they might be thinking the same thing. I'm not saying they are, but they might be thinking the same thing. So while we can, as parents, of course, once we settle our own retirement, then we want to try and do something for our children. Okay, life isn't easy. Life wasn't easy 20 years ago, and 20 years later now, okay, it's not getting any easier. I'm sure all of us can agree to that. Okay, so if we can just leave something behind, not a mountain of debt, of course, but we can just leave something behind for our children, okay, to give them just a little bit of leg up in life. Okay, I think that's at least better than not leaving anything for them. Okay, so okay, this is also I mentioned earlier. Make sure you don't leave liabilities behind for your loved ones. Cancel your liabilities. Ensure they will be cancelled in the event of an untimely exit from this world. Okay, prior to estate planning. Okay, once we have no liabilities, or at least we know for sure we don't leave liabilities behind, okay, then we can prepare ourselves for retirement and subsequently asset transfer to the next generation. Okay, so going back to Shu Ning asked how to nullify all liabilities in sudden death. Actually, that's a term plan. If you have liabilities and you suddenly die, okay, and let's say your liabilities of 500,000, and this liability of 500,000 could be a mortgage, for example, you need to pay it over the next 10 years. Okay, then you need a term plan to cover you for 10 years for 500,000. So if you do die, 500,000 is paid out straight away to the family. And and here's one thing. Most important thing is you can actually get that money without having to go through the will first. That's why I didn't put in the slides, but I let you all know. Insurance payout does not need you to go through a will. You just need to provide proof of the beneficiary of the payout, proof of death, for example, a death cert. Okay, and in fact, insurance company actually allowed to pay 150,000 straight away without any further evidence. And anything more than that, they need to see more evidence lah. But insurance can actually give straight away 150,000 liquidity within days. Okay, and then you want to claim the remaining 350,000, they might ask for more verification. So you realize you don't have to even go through a will process for this. Don't you have to go to the court, go to apply for probate, this kind of things. Okay, because when someone dies, all the assets are generally frozen. Okay, of course I don't want to talk about a scenario where you know someone else's PIN number on the ATM card, you still can withdraw money or that. That one's out of the bounds of today lah. But that's legally speaking, when someone dies, all the assets are frozen. Okay, so you actually cannot access the asset until the court grants you permission to, and that can take 6 months even with a will. But insurance payout is immediate, pretty much. Compare 6 months to 1 week. I think you prefer 1 week to get the money to go and settle all that you need to settle. Okay, joint account assets. Joint account asset different. So joint account also very important. Make sure it's an all account so that the surviving spouse is not locked out of the account. Okay, if it's an end account, well, it's as good as not a joint account because both parties must give approval for any transaction to be done for an end account. So like myself and my wife, we actually have a all account. So if I die, she still can access my money. Of course, I also have money that's only mine, but that one had to go through my will. Okay. So joint account, please make sure it's an all account. Okay. So Shuning, I hope I answered your question. Nullify liabilities in sudden death, that is actually a term plan. Okay. That's actually a term plan covering death TPD. Okay, so back to this. Okay, now you all went through lifetime income mastery 1, and now you're talking about lifetime income mastery 2. But we go back to the core teaching of lifetime income mastery. Income is actually the key. Okay, all of us here, okay, we have worked for income, and those of you who are retired, you're no longer working, it's okay, you have worked already, but I'm sure a majority of us here today, we are still working. Okay, we work for income. Okay, income determines the type of food you eat, the type of clothes you wear, the type of house you stay in. Okay, so if your income is affected, okay, think about it, everything else is affected. Your lifestyle, basically. Okay, which is why income is actually the most important determinant. If you ask me, I felt that having income is the most important determinant in planning. Therefore, also, which means that, okay, you need to protect your income. Okay, and if you are the person who's generating the income, then you need to protect yourself. Okay, let that sink in for a while. If you are the person who's generating the income, you need to protect that income, which is you as the asset. Okay, if your asset is gone, okay, and your incomes remain, you can always rebuild. Okay, you just need time, but you can always rebuild. But if your income is gone forever or gone for like halted for 5 years due to say very serious illness or something like that, okay, that 5 years you won't be able to rebuild anything, or you won't even be able to build anything because you simply have no income. Okay, so if your income is gone forever, that's even worse. You can never rebuild assets. Okay, that's the end of the road for you. Okay, so income is actually a very, very powerful tool. We have always focused on, oh, I want to build my net worth, I want to build my wealth, so on and so forth. But then we never realized that actually what we want to do really deep inside is we want to make sure we build our income. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, a number of you, okay, that's not in the polling. Okay, some of you said you wanted 100,000 a year, okay, versus 1 million lump sum. Okay, and that is the whole concept of income. Income should just come to you month after month after month without thinking about it. And if something were to interfere with the income stream, either you have a backup plan to ensure that you can deal with it, or you don't have backup plan, then your entire life will be actually affected. Okay, so that is the idea behind income. Income is actually key to a lot of things. Okay, so okay, now talk about balance sheet of a family. Okay, we want to talk about your what you call that thing, schedule assets, right? Okay, these are the things that you can actually list down as assets to you. Okay, so all of us, we have investments, some of us may have a business, we definitely have property. Okay, we have cash in bank, we may have certain assets of value. Okay, now let me just do some drawing here. Okay, now estate planning, okay, also works in a way like this. Let's say today, this is the value of your assets. Okay, let me try. Okay. This is the value of your assets. Okay, say 1 million. Okay, and now it's 2021, and let's say you want to grow it over time, say 2030, you want it to grow it to 2 million. Okay, my question is this: is it possible to grow it to 2 million? Absolutely. Is it guaranteed you'll grow to 2 million? Maybe not. Investment can go up, investment value also can come down. Business can be worth more, can be worth less. Property value can go up, also can come down. Never forget that. Cash in bank can only grow up. If you don't touch the cash, it will slowly go up, but very, very slowly. Goods of value probably could hold its value over time. Okay, but there's also a chance that the value may go down. Now, if you don't reach 2 million in 10 years, okay, let's say instead you drop to 900,000. Okay, you got a gap. Okay, can you rebuild it? So maybe you might delay your plan, maybe 2040, then you manage to somehow or another rebuild your estate to 2 million. Okay, can see that, huh? Okay, now here's the thing. If something happens to you halfway, this whole phase of your rebuilding is gone. Your dream of ensuring that you got 2 million assets is gone because something happened to you. We call this asset gap. So how do you make up for the gap? Can you make up for the gap? Okay, if you are gone, nothing can make up for the gap because you are the one who built this asset. You were the one who built 1 million assets, trying to grow it to 2 million. Okay, and as long as you're alive, I would say that, yeah, you probably can work on it. Okay, I have no doubt that people will always try to increase their net worth. Okay, but when you're gone, this gap immediately exists, and because you're gone, there's no way to bridge that gap. So there is this concept. Okay, I term it as gap insurance. Gap insurance exists to ensure that if, let's say, okay, you didn't reach your $2 million, you still got a gap of $1 million, and then suddenly you're gone. Okay, gap insurance ensures that your $1 million is created so that your original goal of 2 million in your estate is still reached. But if, let's say, you manage to grow your net worth to 2 million, okay, the gap insurance still has a part to play because you now increase your net worth by another 1 million. Okay, so no matter what, you win. Okay, so let me, okay, maybe I should use a blank screen here. Give me a second. Okay, so you got two scenarios. Okay, you got 1 million, you want to build it to 2. Okay, you want to build it to 2. Okay, you succeed. Okay, but then you pass away. Never mind, you did reach your goal of 2 million, but get insurance, add 1 more million on top of that. You have 1 million, you want to build it to 2, but then before you succeed in doing so, or you fail to do so, and your net worth still remain at 1 million. So I'm just going to shade what you build up. Okay, so you still have $1 million gap. Then you pass on. Okay, gap insurance coming to fill that 1 million, ensuring that you still hit your 2 million. So either way, you win. Okay, either way, you win. That is what we call gap insurance. Okay, so hang on now. Okay, so anyone has any questions so far? Because it's about 10:05. I know Darren wants to wrap up a bit on estate planning. I'm also about to wrap up my part, but I think he wants to wrap up the course. Anyone? No questions? Okay, let me just give you one rule of thumb. Generally, the amount of gap insurance people will look at if they want to do this is anywhere between 25 to 50% of their net worth. Okay, because we have no doubt that as long as you're alive, you can continue to build your net worth. But if you pass on or if something unforeseen happens, okay, you will need to make up the difference from somewhere. Okay. Okay, just give me a second now. Okay, so I revisit the 7 estates of estate planning. Okay, these are what you need to think about. Okay, and legal and tax aspects actually will be quite more for accountants and we call like lawyers to take care of for most people. But what you can do for yourself and to plan is to, for example, think about what you want to do for inheritance. Think about charity, if you want to do charity. Okay, retirement, what you want to do, create income streams. Okay, income. Okay, so okay, maybe let me talk about this. Legal and tax is something that okay, legal and tax. Okay, look for a lawyer. In case you have anything that is very complex legally speaking, let's say your assets are in other countries, okay, look for a lawyer. Tax purposes, you can look for an accountant. Although Singapore no estate tax, but if some of you, who knows, you may have assets elsewhere subject to taxation, please look for the appropriate accountant with the right skill set in that particular country or jurisdiction, okay, to help you. Inheritance, what can you pass on? You can pass on assets, right? Okay, which ties into asset transfer. You can pass on income. So you see, it's all interlinked. Okay, your retirement, make sure you have income. And charity, you may choose to, for example, do like endowments. Okay, some of us maybe, okay, maybe you all have heard of like endowment fund for university or that they are normally named after some people. Okay, so these are the factors. So actually you realize that if you want to ensure asset transfer goes through, Okay, you want to ensure inheritance goes through, you want to ensure you still have an income. A lot of that can be done with proper planning through financial aspects ultimately. Okay, I've seen some questions here. Get insurance only for those with dependents. Okay, not necessarily. It depends on what you want to achieve. If you wanted to leave behind, you want to set up a charitable foundation, example, okay, you want to ensure that the charitable foundation is funded properly. And maybe you're a successful businessman, you're building up the assets to eventually pass it on to a charitable foundation. Then suddenly you die. Okay, you also need gap insurance to make up the difference. Okay, and even you don't have dependents. Okay, let's say you didn't want to do charity, you don't have dependents. Okay, but you just want to make sure that loved ones. Okay, that means people who, let's say your children are grown up, they're no longer dependent on you. Okay, but you want them to inherit what you have. Of course, after you settle your own retirement, you want them to inherit what you have. Okay, and what you have may be, okay, going back to those 5 asset classes in general we talked about. Okay, let me go back a bit. Okay, so remember this, most assets can fall into this classification. So let's say you wanted your children to inherit certain value of investment or business, even though your children are grown up. Okay, if something happens to the value of these things and they drop, right, then your children will inherit less than what you planned. Okay, which means that estate planning will actually have failed to ensure that the money or the value of the assets went over properly. So gap insurance can make up for that. Okay, Buhuan asked, will leverage insurance be a good way to execute gap insurance? Actually, gap insurance is actually something that covers death, TBD, and you can use leverage to cover that. Actually, we are looking at things like universal life or even term to 99, depending on the client's wishes. Okay, this, as I mentioned, the normal rule of thumb is that if you want to make sure you pass the estate on, okay, now estate value cannot drop from 1 million to 0 overnight, or even in 10 years. Okay, can drop, but cannot drop that drastically. So you only need to make sure that you cover the appropriate gap, and that's why usually it's 25% to 50% of your net worth, and that will be good enough to cover any movement in the value of your estate. Okay, in case the movement is negative, you can make up for it. In case the movement is positive, you have even more to pass on to the next generation. Okay, okay, leverage them, no, but we're talking about leverage usually for single premium because that has guaranteed cash value, as I mentioned yesterday. If there is no, okay, here's the thing, term don't have cash value, so you got nothing to borrow against. Banks do not lend you money for that. Okay, but you put in a whole life plan, single premium, for example, that like UL or normal whole life plan, okay, there's a cash value you can borrow against that to reduce the cost of the premium outlay. That was what I mentioned yesterday in the leverage insurance. Okay, so yeah, that's what I have to say. Okay, Darren, are you there?
Okay, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Elijah,
very complex concepts perhaps, but feel free to talk to us after this. I not everything can be covered in 45 minutes. Yeah, I let Darren take over. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elijah. Okay, so because for this 6 hour, the intention of this course is to further enhance the base that for retirement income you can look at, also grow aspect, and you try to have a more complete picture, okay, to further enhance your portfolio, to so that you also can leave behind a legacy for a family. But while leaving behind a legacy, we also make sure that your asset transfer is done properly. Okay, this is something that a lot of people have missed out. That's like that's like the 99-1 rules Elijah mentioned for CPF nomination, especially for those that have dependents. Okay, that's like, for example, my son is only now is 18 months old. So if I pass on, I nominate my wife as 100% of the beneficiary for my CPF amount. What happens if my wife also pass on? Okay, then my son will have an issue. Okay, getting the money. So if I nominate 99% to my wife, 1% to my son, then if anything happens to both of us, at least my son indirectly is being taken care of. So these are some of the things that you need to take note when you make sure that everything, okay, to able to enhance your asset and make sure when you pass out, it's still pass out properly. Okay, so we're coming towards the end. Okay, what is next is let me talk about this strategy. I think I have mentioned this strategy before in the revision class in June last year. Okay, some of you may have attended this revision class before in June when I talk about this modified barbell strategy. Okay, and some of you may never heard of this barbell strategy. Maybe or for those that I heard 6 months ago, I forgot what is barbell. Actually, this barbell strategy is okay. I do it modified on how can we combine the LIM, the and this LM2 together to build a portfolio. Okay, to build a portfolio using this barbell strategy. Okay, this what I call modified. You can see is skewed. Okay, this is just a barbell, but one side is lighter weight, one side is more heavy weight. Okay, because our focus is still more on retirement income, more of lifetime income. Okay, but we know that if you get dividend stocks from Singapore stocks, you don't really have much capital appreciation. Okay, you don't really have much capital appreciation. You only have cash flow. Okay, you only have cash flow. Okay, so you may want to have, let's say, 20% allocation to US focus, and sometimes it can be also Hong Kong, China. Okay, focus to more on the growth aspect so that your portfolio can grow. Okay, can grow in numbers. Okay, and when you do we call balancing that time, when what happen if the US market really grow a lot, your this 20% become 30%. Okay, and this one becomes 70%. What you need to do is you need to trim it down to 20%, put this 10% here to the dividend stocks, and your dividend payout will increase. Okay, well, dividend payout. Okay, and that's how you build your cash flow over time. Okay, so this is a concept of how barbell strategy work, but that's in theory. But in practical, you also need to fit in the number of stocks and number of fund you can buy also along the way. Okay, and how much should you buy? Okay, you see, I always recommend, okay, you don't really have time. Okay, you don't really have much time to manage. This one is to cap at 10. Okay, this one is to cap the most at 8. Okay, sometimes even you can do 5. Okay, sometimes the lesser you have, it is even better, because let's say you only can buy 5 US Hong Kong stocks. You will shortlist until you only have 5 that you definitely have focused more attention on it, and you definitely know them very well. Okay, so the lesser, actually sometimes small can be good, but of course don't try to buy 1 or 2. That's also very too risky. Okay, so we are looking at 5 to 8. This one, if we can spread a bit, 10 to 15, if your capital is more. Okay, and that is the good size that you may want to look at to manage on your own portfolio in this aspect. Okay, one is focused on dividend play and one is focused on growth play. Okay, so what are the counter we are looking at? I think this one everyone should have this. Okay, this I didn't really change. Okay, for Singapore stock, and put it the other way, Singapore don't have don't really have much selection, or don't really have much choice for us to pick. Okay, thus it is very limited. I removed the semicon. Okay, I removed the semiconductor company. Okay, yeah, hard to find 10 to 15. Yes, yeah, perfectly correct. But you include REITs, then possible 10 can be possible to 10. Okay, so it is where, so sometimes it's good that Singapore you can't find a lot. You can't find a lot means that very easy to analyze and very easy to invest, because you need to focus on this few company. Okay, in Chinese term, people say lai lai chi chi, it's only this few company. Yeah, that is how boring Singapore market is. But sometimes boring is good when it comes to getting passive income. Okay, because you want it to be boring, then can get recurring income. So this, I think no need to introduce too much about this Singapore counter. Most of you will understand all this counter. Okay, same thing for the REITs. Okay, as I mentioned during the class, I prefer strong sponsor. So you can see practically the most of the REITs here are Temasek-backed REITs, except Parkway, except Fraser. Okay, the rest are practically Temasek-backed REITs. Okay, and they are practically the biggest in their asset class by themselves. Okay, and back to dividend unit trust. Okay, so these are the dividend unit trust fund. Okay, and unit trust, put it the other way, is pretty boring when you look for dividend. It's only a few. Okay, it's only a few, and this is the one that I always advocate people to get. Okay, do take note, these two, first they are bond. Okay, bond currently they will look at upside potential very limited. and current market bond fund very tough. Okay, practically you don't find a good bond fund that give you good capital appreciation. Unfortunately, these two same thing don't give you capital appreciation, but they give you cash flow. They give cash flow. They can give you 7% cash flow. They can give you 5.5% cash flow. Okay, per year perpetually. But do take note, you may suffer capital loss. Okay, but the capital loss over long time, it can be covered off. It can, especially at current market price, how low can it go? Okay, so you definitely have no gain, but you have a perpetual cash flow. Okay, so this is for people that just want cash flow, don't care about swing. Okay, this is for those that want to have cash flow, but also want to have upside. Want to have cash flow, but want to have upside. Same thing for these three. Okay, so this is more for a dividend focused unit trust in this aspect. Okay, okay. Okay, it's better to buy FSM first, then transfer to Philip. Okay, do take note. If want to using cash to buy, okay, you have a risk of doing transfer. Because FSM when you buy they charge you platform fee. When you do a transfer, they will still continue to charge you platform fee because the transfer is not immediate. The transfer may take up to 2 months. So at 2 months, start at SFM, there you need to pay for 2 months of platform fees. Okay, and during these 2 months, when you submit a transfer from one platform to another platform, right? During these 2 months, your unit trust is stuck there. What do you mean stuck there? You want to sell, cannot sell. You go to FSM, tell them you want to sell, they say cannot because it's in process of transferring. You come to Philip, say you want to sell, I say cannot because we haven't received your unit trust. Then you'll get stuck. So that's something you need to take note when it comes to transfer. That is this type of risk. Okay. If you buy dividend paying fund, I think the risk is not that high. But we have experienced before that a client buy from Navigator platform, buy from the banks actually, like volatile stocks, that's like Vietnam stocks, Vietnam unit trust, Philippine unit trust, and you want to transfer to POEMS platform. Okay, when you do the transfer at the time, it takes more than 1 month for the transfer, and the stock market crash. He want to let go, cannot let go. In the end, he lost a lot. Okay, so that's something you need to think note. Sometimes we will actually recommend client that anyway buying a unit trust at no cost. You may just want to sell and buy again. Okay, that will be faster and reduce your risk. Okay, so this is something to take note on that. Okay, next we go to growth stocks. Okay, growth stock we are looking at US focus. Okay, of course we want to look at China. Maybe I just want to explain. Okay, because there is too many stocks in the market. Okay, too many. Okay, we can't cover everything, but of course we look for the name that most people are familiar with, and I feel that the long term that's growth. This is I think everyone should heard of this name: FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. Okay, I think Netflix may have challenged of all these 5 of them. I feel this may be the weakest link. Okay, this may be the weaker links among the 5. Okay, I feel that Apple, like Facebook, Google will definitely have a long-term growth prospect. Okay, for longer term prospect because they are too big. Okay, they are big and they don't really have much competitor. Okay, so this is something. Okay, to take note, this is not a recommendation to buy. This is just some idea for you to what to look at. Then from there, you can start to expand your list. Okay, like some people ask me, why never put Microsoft inside? Why never put NVIDIA inside? Why never put Adobe inside? Okay, all these are good companies. Okay, but if I put everything inside, then I practically put almost inside. So it just give you something to start off with. Okay, start off with. Okay, finance related, I don't know how to classify them. Visa, MasterCard. Okay, this, but some people like PayPal. Okay, so these are the payment company, and I think Visa will definitely benefit the growth prospect. Okay, the growth prospect. It actually affected because a lot of people cannot travel. Okay, cannot travel, and you can't swipe the Visa card much. I go overseas now. I go holidays. Okay, before COVID-19, actually I most of the time I don't bring much cash overseas one. Everything I swipe card. Okay, so to spend I remember I went to Australia. Okay, I go and change. I think only 2,000 Aussie dollars. Okay, 2,000 Aussie dollar. Okay, and after come back, I still got 1,008 Aussie dollars. Okay, because I practically don't use cash there because the credit card is so convenient. So I regret I changing so much. Okay. And my whole family go, come back, I only spend $200 in cash. The rest of, so MSCI, some of you may not heard of this MSCI. You all have heard of this thing called MSCI index. Okay. MSCI index. So this is a company that created the index. So a company that create index and MSCI have been also partnered with Hong Kong Exchange. They break ties with SGX and they go to Hong Kong. It's a big market. It's a bigger market. That's why they forgo SGX. So the growth potential of MSCI is definitely there. Okay, they are not looking at global as a spec. They also know when to move on to a bigger market. Okay, bad thing for SGX, but it's good thing for share investor at MSCI. So these are the counter that you may want to look at it. Okay, this is called recovery play. Okay, what do you mean by recovery play? These are the stocks that are being hit very badly by the COVID. Okay, hit badly by the COVID. And we know that COVID will one day will recover. Okay, one day, and just some of them actually already recover. Disney. Theme park is not really open yet, but Disney already recover. Okay, Disney already recover and go even higher. Now it's close to $170 over. Okay, $170 over. Okay, okay. Why is Erica? First thing you look at, if the theme park going to reopen, Disney will definitely be benefit. Okay, benefit for it. Okay, Disney will definitely benefit for it. I went to Disney World in Orlando. Okay, I always dream of going back again. Bring my baby there. Okay, just I cannot go. Okay, so that is one thing. So when theme park open, they're back to normal. But now why they have able to their share price go up? Because they also diversify their business. Okay, Disney Plus, they also go into subscription base. They also come out with movie, which is why I see Netflix got challenged. Okay, Netflix got challenged. Okay, so because Disney itself got a lot of attraction, got a lot of followers itself, and they going to the paid channel that expect. So that is another growth engine for Disney. So they become more what? Weatherproof. Got COVID, they got a channel there to sustain. They are targeting 100. I think they already hit 100 million subscriber already. Okay, so that is a growth potential of Disney. So we look at, I feel that it's a recovery play. Okay, it's a recovery play for Disney in this aspect. Okay, Carnival. Carnival. Some of you may never heard of Carnival. Okay, Carnival is a cruise line. It's the biggest cruise stocks it's the biggest cruise stock. Number 2 is called Royal Caribbean. I think everyone heard of Royal Caribbean because, okay, biggest, and they are burning a lot of cash now because stop cruise order. Okay, stop cruise order. So they are the top 2, I think top 2 or top 3. The ranking from below. The worst performance S&P 500 stocks for 2020. Boeing is one of them. Carnival is another one of them. Okay, the worst performance stocks. Okay, so they already the worst. So how worse can they be unless they go bankrupt? Okay, unless they go bankrupt. So that is a risk, recovery play. But the possibility of they going bankrupt will be quite slim now. Because they are very big. They are too big. So their price now is only about $20. But they have dropped below $10. To take note, they have dropped below $10. Okay, but their peak is $40 over dollars, $50 over. So it means that if they recover, there's 100% upside. Okay, if we recover, there's 100% upside. That's on the Carnival. Okay, this one, I don't know how to pronounce it. W, and then there's a casino. Okay, casino. Singapore, we know our Genting. Okay, we know our Genting is being affected. Okay, by that. Okay. Wynn, okay, it's called Wynn. Okay, Wynn Resort. But we also got Sand. We also have Vegas. Why I look at this one is, where is the high roller? Mainly in Asia, mainly from China, and Wynn, their main revenue is from Macau. Okay, Macau. Although China has started to cram down all these things, but ultimately, market everything need to restore back to original thing. Okay, Macau is still better than Hong Kong in the political aspect. Okay, so this is one of the counter that you can look at for recovery play. Okay, Marriott is hotel. Okay, but hotel that's even like Hyatt, okay, like Hilton, but Marriott is the biggest. I always look for big boys, okay, the biggest. The big boys play, that is something you want to look at in the aspect. Okay, Walgreen Boots Alliance, some of you may even heard of this thing, but this is not a small company. You know, Dow Jones got only 30 stocks. Dow Jones 30 component stock, and this is one of the 30. Okay, this is one of the 30 in Dow Jones, and it's the worst performing 30 stocks in Dow Jones last year. Okay, so I looking at recovery rate, it's the worst among the 30. Okay, what they do, pharmacy, okay, but they have pharmacy across the whole of US, okay, across the whole of US, and COVID-19, they're going to have vaccination, okay, there will be the place, their pharmacy will be the place for people to take their vaccine, okay, and they are across the whole of US, okay, so they may be the one that will have a good recovery play going forward. Okay, so this is what I talk about. But do take note, recovery play, it also means higher risk. Okay, it also means higher risk. So the price swing can be big. Okay, the price swing can be big. So this is something you need to take note. Okay, growth potential. There's too many growth potential. Tesla has grown so high. Would that be another new? Unlikely they'll repeat the history of that type of growth again. Okay, but definitely they will be still in a growth path. Okay, for the next near term. Okay, will Tesla hit $1,000? I don't know. Okay, I don't know, but I think $700, $800, $900 definitely I think is within their reach. Okay, so Tesla will still have growth potential. You may not heard of this company. For some of you may heard of this company. What they do? Okay, now even our Well Hero logo design. Okay, is we get someone to design for us. Okay, actually it's through this website. Okay, through this website we get people to design for us all these things. So especially at COVID-19 forced a lot of people to go online, go internet, and this actually have people have start to the demand have been growing up. So I feel that this it will have a growth potential. Okay, in this aspect. Okay, the of course the best price already, the best upswing already gone, but I feel that it's still a very growth potential in this aspect. Okay, for growth potential. Okay, so this is, do take note, this is just something for you to take a look. Okay, and look at. Someone asked me to calculate why don't look at airlines. Okay, airlines that are many airline you want to look at. Okay, then the question is which airline you want to choose. We got American Airline, Delta Airline, Southwest Airline, United, Delta, Southwest, and American Airline. Okay, so total there's 4 airlines. Okay, you can take a pick of which one. Okay, but I think the movement may not be as fast as like Carnival. Okay, in this aspect. So that's what my take is. But you can also look at the airline in this aspect. Okay, this is not for everyone. This one is just mainly for some people for the thrill of it, for speculation play. Okay, it should not be part of your portfolio. It should not be part of portfolio. But I just want to let you have a feel of how volatile a stock market or how crazy a stock market can be and can have no fundamental. Stocks can go like crazy. This is only have 3 employees. This one only have 6 employees. Okay, but there are $1 billion in market cap. Okay, and the share price can go like crazy. So this is just for you to understand more about the market. Okay, ETF. ARK, I think I talked about this thing. Okay, because innovation will be the one to go. Okay, definitely going forward, we'll definitely have a more room to play. Actually, I don't really like team fund or team ETF. Okay, but that should be. However, market have changed. I feel that innovation will be the thing to go. Okay, in this aspect. Okay, if you don't like to buy this ARK ETF, then you go and zoom into this ETF to look at the stocks they buy. Okay, look at the stocks they buy, and certain stocks you may like it, then you can buy that stock. Like Square is inside them, Tesla is inside them, so cloud computing stocks is inside them. So you may just go in and look into that. But you just want to have a peace of mind, don't bother too much, then you may look at ARK Innovation ETF. Okay, clean energy. Biden have won. Okay, and he is the one that pro clean energy. And recently, the related stocks for clean energy have moved up. Okay, move up. But do take note, I personally don't have good feel of this ETF for long term. Okay, for long term. But for short term, you may want to look at it. Long term, I don't think it may really grow. I hope I'm wrong. Okay, but long term, I don't have a good view of clean energy stocks. Okay, at least in the near term. In the near term. Okay, if you don't want to look at the market at night, you want to look at daytime, then we can look at Hong Kong, China. Okay, Hong Kong, China also got a lot of stocks. Okay, but some of the stocks I didn't put it in because the capital outlay is high. Tencent, okay, Wuliangye, Guizhou Maotai, okay, but the capital outlay is pretty high, so I didn't put it there. But if you have a big capital, you want to look at them, you can look at this style of stocks, okay. And bank stocks, okay, bank stock like ICBC, okay, Bank of China, but they are more for dividend plays rather than for growth play in the aspect. Like insurance company Ping An, China Life, they are more for dividend and growth play. Link REITs, okay, they're more for the dividend play rather than growth play. So I don't want to put in there. Okay, Alibaba, okay, Alibaba currently you can look it as an opportunity or you can look it as a downside swing. But I look at Alibaba long term is an opportunity at current market juncture lah. Actually, I hope that Alibaba that time go below $200 that I buy, but it didn't hit $200 below 200, so I missed the boat of Alibaba. But this few days it start to come down, so you can monitor Alibaba. Okay, Meituan Dianping, I think everyone know about these stocks. Okay, it's more for people. Okay, these two. It's more of consumer stapler. Not really consumer. Li Ning, okay. Li Ning was formed by Li Ning is a person name. Okay, for those that are not aware, is Olympic. Okay, China gymnast. Okay, is a China hero in a way. Okay, win the Olympic gold. Okay, and he opened a sports shop under his name called Li Ning. Okay, Li Ning. So I feel that it will be like something like you look at Adidas, you look at Nikes, okay, they run a long way for in the US market. So Li Ning may be the next future Adidas and Nike in the China, or already is. Okay, so there is a big potential upside. I feel that for Li Ning to grow. Okay, so this is on Li Ning. Okay, Yum China. Okay, this is mainly on KFC. Pizza. Okay, KFC, Yum actually in US is not really performing the good. Okay, like in Singapore, I think McDonald's, in US, the McDonald's will be better. But in China, KFC is better. So this is a consumer staple. You can look at it on the Hong Kong China aspect. Okay, so what about unit trust? Okay, on the growth aspect of unit trust. So unit trust, this is a global unit trust. Okay, this is a global unit trust growth aspect. Why they are growth? Okay, the name I tell you they are growth area. The name I tell you growth, but they are mainly US focused, and they are also indirect tech focused. Okay, anything that grow in US they will buy lah. Okay, so these are the growth aspect of unit trust. One thing, this one pay dividend also, pay about 4%. I think this one of course don't pay dividend. Okay, do take note of these two funds. These two funds come from small fund house, UOB, Nikko AM. Nikko AM formerly was called DBS Asset Management. So these two are small fund house, Asian-based fund house. So fund manager don't have capability to buy, to do well on equity growth market. The fund manager don't have the capability. So what they do, they tap on external party. Okay, what do you mean by that? This one they tap on Wellington. Nikko AM, Shenton Global, they go over to, I think, to US to buy over a fund house and continue from there, tap on the more expertise. Thus, these two can, in the end, these two perform one of the best global fund. Okay, one of the best global fund in the market, okay, consistently among the top. Okay, so this is something you can look at it. I mean, best is, double-digit return. Okay, that's what we mean by that. Okay, you're not looking at a growth fund, okay, that give you 5%, 6%. Okay, the US market, if you don't want to buy S&P 500 ETF, then this is an alternative you can buy. Okay, you don't want to face the hazard of what estate duty, okay, all these things, you can just buy this one because unit trust, you are not subjected to estate duty. Okay, so this is an infinity, and you can buy as low as $100 per month, and you're riding the wave of S&P 500. Okay, if you don't like S&P 500, you can look at this one. This one is focused on Russell 3000 growth index. Okay, it underperformed Russell 3000 growth index. Okay, it underperformed. But if you to buy Russell 3000 ETF, is in USD. Okay, and you also subject to estate duty because if your total investment more than 60,000 as a whole for US, okay, so you may want to look at this one, and it is CPF OA approved. So that is one thing good about that. Okay, you can use a CPF OA to buy into a growth company. Okay, in the US. Okay, growth stocks aspect. So someone had asked me that what to do with CPF investment. Okay, if you really want growth, then this is one consideration. Okay, Shoulder Asia Growth. Shoulder Asia Growth is a competitor to First State Dividend Advantage. Okay, it's a competitor to First State Dividend Advantage. But the thing I tell you that they are doing growth. So indirectly, the fund manager are more aggressive. Okay, more aggressive than the First State Dividend Advantage. Okay, so the fund manager don't really follow the benchmark. The fund manager himself has said that if I feel that Hong Kong market is the growth potential, I'll whack 100% into Hong Kong market. I don't care what it's called Asian. Okay. So the fund manager have that time mandate they can do that in the aspect, which also means the risk is higher, but also means the return is fantastic. Good year that time, if I'm not wrong, at 2018, it go up close to 40% in 1 year. Okay, so that is why I talk about growth stock. But of course, when market downturn, they down double digit. Okay, but net they still give you a very high return in this aspect. Okay, 2017. Okay, 2017 they go up to 40% in 1 year. Okay, so a lot of people say unit trust cannot make money, but they show you that 1 year I give you 40% return, but the next year they down about 15 to 18%. But net is to make a good handsome sum. Okay, so it also means that when you make so much return, you must exit. As I mentioned, I make 30% or more in unit trust profit, I will exit half already. Okay, I will exit half, then I come back again. Okay, so that's how because when you go too fast, too high, you definitely have to come down. Okay, if you believe in the China story, as I mentioned, okay, for Asian market, it's still better to buy unit trust. Then this is something that you can consider. Okay, you can consider. Okay, JP Morgan China, or this is for Greater China. Tactical. Okay, this is called thematic fund. Okay, thematic fund. I don't like any climate change fund, clean energy fund. I don't think ESG unit trust fund because I don't really have a bad experience. Hopefully, going forward, it can be positive. But this is something that if you don't want to buy the ARKK ETF, this is a mirror to ARKK ETF. Actually, they're buying exactly the same thing. It's just that unit trust. Just that this one actually mirror S&P 500. But they do it in unit trust level. This one also same thing. It's ARKK ETF, but they do it in a unit trust level. So it gives you an option that you prefer to go on to the US market to buy the ETF or want to stay in Singapore to buy it in Singapore. Okay. So this is not in your site. I'll send to everyone. Okay, after the session. Okay, most likely tomorrow or over the weekend. Okay, I'll send this list to everyone so they can move forward on this aspect. Okay. And let me just wrap up a bit. Okay. Okay. Just now Elijah, okay, I talk about the will process. Okay. For those that are not aware, actually, I'm an associate estate planning practitioner. Okay. That means I'm an associate estate planning practitioner. Okay. I'm a will planner. Elijah also a will planner. Okay. What does will planner means? We don't help you to write will. Okay. But we are trained to guide people how to get a will done. Okay, because we know the rules and regulation. Okay, so we work with a will writing company also. Okay, we work with a will writing company where they have lawyer to help you to write a will. Not only will, LPA. Some people may hear of LPA, lasting power alternative, or you may want to set up a trust. Okay, we work with that people. So if you want us, okay, you want us to help you on that. Okay, but of course this is not free. This is not free. Okay. You can talk to us. We can actually help you do that. Okay, so this is the price that you will pay. Okay, this is a company called, you can go and Google the company. It's a company. Okay, it's a company that you need to pay GST one. So their turnover is definitely more than 1 million. So it's 3 to 1. It's 300 plus 7% GST. Okay, so you go and look for them. You write the will. They charge you 3 to 1. LPA, they charge you $100 plus 7% GST. Of course, trust is another fee type. Okay. So you really want to write a will, okay, you can look for us. We can arrange you to look for them, and actually you can get a $50 off. Okay. Do think on this $50 off is not given to them by you. Okay. Okay. Is they actually will give us a referral fee, but actually we cut it back and give it to you because, okay, you think it's only for all of you that attend this LM 2.0. Okay, it's not for all LM graduate. Do think please don't go and tell our other colleagues, actually, can look for us, we got $50 off. Sorry, I don't have. Okay, because this is LM 2.0 and this is the first time we run this course, and we want to thank you for the support. Okay, so if you can find that, you can find a place that write a will is not cheaper, of course you go for that. Okay, but if you feel that, hey, this is a good price, ideal price, and you want to work on that, you can just approach us. Okay, we can help to arrange on that. Okay, we can help to arrange on that. Okay, in this aspect. Okay, so this is, if you really keen and can look for us on this aspect. Okay, next is let me share with this thing. Okay, let me need to go to here. Okay, give me another 5 minutes. I just need to wrap up the thing. Okay, okay, I have showed this multiple times to every one of you. Okay, on this called Ghost Mapper software, which I told that is not for sale. It's only for those already have MS license, then can do that. Everyone have the retirement planning Excel spreadsheet. Okay, that spreadsheet is to good enough for you to have an idea of how you want to plan your things. Okay, but if you say that you want to be even more details, okay, and you want to help, want us to help you to plan even more details, just to show you, this is a live example. This is a lady called Sharon. Actually, this is a live case. I just changed the name only. Okay, where this software is able to help you to key in whatever plan you have and whatever plan you plan to buy, and able to plot out. And we can even do scenario play. Let's say you want to buy a car at this.
Darren, you need to switch your screen.
Okay, sorry, my screen. Okay, can. Okay, so, and you can do scenario play. She have a child, she want to have a second child, and this is what will happen to you. And we can actually help you to plot this thing for you, okay, for you. And after that, you can have your own report generate out for you, okay. And maybe I just share you what is the report look like. Okay, you can have selection of what we want. Okay, that means we have a choice of what you want to see. Okay, and this is how the report will come out to be. Okay, and this is how the whole thing works. Let me just generate a report. Okay, so this is how the report will be, and we are able to give it to you. You talk about every aspect of thing. Okay, of course, this graph will show it to you. See, okay, it's based on what scenario you want. Okay, and your financial data. Of course, this is your personal data. Your balance sheet, the pie chart will pop for you. Okay, the Excel file, of course, we don't have the pie chart. Okay, and we'll have the balance sheet expect. Okay, cash flow. Okay, cash flow expect will be there. The cash flow detail breakdown will be there. Financial ratio, they also calculate for you the financial ratio. That's where on the Excel spreadsheet, and based on what your goals, and these are all your goals, we will put it in and permit it for you. And these are all the breakdowns of the goals on how you're going to achieve it. And the insurance policy summary will have everything there. Like premium, how much you pay over the time, and what will the payout be. Everything will be there. Even investment. Okay. Let me just go down and scroll it down. This is how many pages? This is 35 pages. It's a 35-page report, because for this case, everyone, the pages will be different. This is investment performance. For her, you only have unit trust. Okay, so this is, you have stocks, and you can do various permutation. Okay, and last part, let's say your insurance premium. They even show you what is your future insurance premium table is there. Okay, and this is real date numbers, not fake number. That means this system will auto update the latest revised premium for medical insurance up there for you. Okay, so this is just an example. Let me show you another one. Okay, it can be even for a specific scenario analysis. Okay, this is one of my clients. Okay, she told me, Darren, I want to sell off my current EC. which I think will sell off in 3 year time to get 900,000 back. I want to know, can I buy a 2 million properties? He said that I want to know, can I afford to buy a 2 million property? Will it affect my cash flow in a few years time? So we use this Ghost Mapper to draft out a scenario that can he buy 2 million or 2.5 million. And this is how we plan this on the cash flow statement. Okay, this one I need explanation. Okay, then, so you see, he planned to buy property at 43. He liquidated his property as 42. Okay, and this property at 65, he'll liquidate it. Okay, he'll sell this property at 65. He's 39 years old. So this is what I call scenario play. Of course, we need to plot in how, then we look at what he have on his asset. Okay, what he have on his asset, and what will be his projected cash flow income going forward. Okay, and ultimately the conclusion for this case is he can buy a property that is worth 2 to 2.5 million without affecting his retirement plan. Okay, so that is what we work on this cash flow. So for, if you want us to help you to do this, okay, but do think we can't do it for everyone. We can't do it for everyone. Okay, so if you want us to help you to come up with this type of report so that you will have a better view of what it is, okay, we don't do it for free. Okay, this is something that we will do it. Okay, for this batch, okay, we just want a commitment. We are not, because this software is not free one. We need to pay a subscription fee to get this software. Okay, but also we need to take time. So you need to come $28. Okay, for us to generate for you, but we need the data from you. Let me the cash flow analysis and retirement planning spreadsheet. You need to update the data and send to us. We can help to plot and can go through with you. Okay, but do take note. We can't do it for everyone. We got 5,000 over our client. Okay, and we only open for this batch. Okay, for some of you, okay, for some of you that is all the while very supportive of us. Okay, very supportive of us. That means that if you trust us and you engage us to actually help you to manage some of your fund. Okay, like manage account, like securities advisory account, like unit trust account, or you get us to get some insurance plan through us. Okay, so we want to thank you for your support. Okay, for actually quite a fair bit of you is inside here. Okay, if you want this us to help to generate risk report, just let us know. Okay, you no need to pay us. Okay, because it's more like service we want to give it to our client. Okay, for those of, for some of you actually that I know who you know who you are. Okay, if you want us to help you to generate this, just let us know. Okay, then we need to arrange a session. We need to go through you, and you can tell us your scenario, what you want to do. We are able to generate and give it to you the report for free. Okay, but for those that just only have a stock account and you want us to generate, we need you to pay $28. But ultimately, after that, if you going forward, if you think that you want to engage us to do more services for you, that then we actually will refund you $28 because we actually don't want to make the money from that. Okay, so we just want to have a long-term relationship with our client. So this is, you can just contact us directly. Okay, you can just yeah, but like you, yes, definitely you can get it for free. Okay, you can just look for us. Okay, so this is something for everyone. Okay, so if you are keen, you just send this QR code and you can ask us to us directly and we'll get back to you. Okay, but do think we cannot one time finish for every one of you. It will take some time. Okay, me and Elijah will go through this and work on that for everyone. Okay, and lastly, Kashin, can you help me to post the feedback link there? Okay, we got this link. Okay, this is the first time that actually we conduct this LM 2.0. We will want to get the feedback from every one of you. How can we do better? Okay, how can we do better going forward, the future routes? Okay, the future route in that aspect. And actually, we are exploring, okay, if we're going to do a future route, let's say in 6 months time, or okay, definitely not in the next 3 months. Definitely, I don't have the schedule to do this LM 2.0 in the next 3 months. You plan to maybe do in third quarter or last quarter. Okay, as you are the first batch, okay, we will invite you to come for the LM 2.0 for this year. at no cost. Okay, that means you can come back for the LN 2.0 revision class if you want to. Okay, of course we need the value of please give us your feedback so that we know how can we do better the next round. And you will come back, actually you can come back for a revision, and we can also input more content as what you have suggested. Okay, so that's all so much for me. Okay, the feedback form is on the chat box link. Okay, if not, I need to thank everyone for attending this session. And actually, I have overrun for 20 minutes. Okay, not anyone got any other question? Okay, you got any question, you can just type on chat box. Okay, if not, you can also WhatsApp me directly. I think you all have my number, or WhatsApp Elijah. Okay, and contact us directly. Okay, if not, thank you everyone and good night.